Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is August the 10th, 2026. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Monday. Happy Garfield Day. Hopefully, you got that lasagna. As for me, as for mine, I got my slice. It was a pretty good day. We can start from the top. I did get a good night's rest. I got a solid 5 hours in me. Woke up maybe about an hour or so before my alarm. We take those for a Monday. Got myself together. I got to work. Work was dead at the start. There was no cardboard to be crushed. So I floated upstairs, cut down some cardboard, made myself busy. Eventually, some work trickled in. Then it like kind of trickled in heavy to a certain extent, you could say. At least heavy for like coming out of nowhere. But by the time my second shift counterpart came in, we busted it down together. Went back upstairs to do some putbacks. Did a few of those. Snuck back downstairs and finished out my day at the crusher. So overall, work was good. It was solid. Trying not to complain, especially for Monday. We didn't go straight to the gym. I dropped off my coworker because we're back on that now, and then went to the gym. I wanted to take a nap, but we didn't do that. We did, just kind of got him where we fit in. It was a busy Monday, for the gym. Did a little bit more cable work that was surprisingly available, so we took that, and did a bunch of little bullshit. Did some cardio, and then came home. We skipped the stretches. Boo! I know. Tomatoes on myself, but did have my snack. Did assembled a few stories that I wanted to cover today, and then tried to lay down because I was tired, but didn't turn off anything. Just kind of scrolled on my phone for a little bit. TV was playing in the background. Maybe did that for like 30 minutes or so. Really didn't track the time on that, but I was like, I gotta get up. I gotta cook and all that after this. So it's like we gotta get to it, man. So that's where we're at. So yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup and let's get into the news. Oh, I will say we do have a new newsie. Better. Zoe Bugini. That's my girlfriend. Yes. Yay. I'm excited. I'm very appreciative. I got the notification last night and I was moons over my hammy about it. It's very sweet. Such a kind gesture because she already does so much for me. She's essentially a newsie without the title already. Making sure I'm fed with yummy meals and being so loving and supportive and great. But she took it to the extra level. She bumped it up a notch. She said, "Bam! I'm a newsie now." So yes, she's gonna be getting her shout outs. She's gonna be on the roll call from here on out. So hell yeah! Thank you. Oh man. All right. Whew. It is hot in my room. Okay. Our first story comes from the BBC. At least 111 killed in Colombia's largest earthquake in years. At least 110 people are dead, and a state of emergency has been declared after Colombia was hit by one of its largest earthquakes in years. The death toll is likely to rise, with more fear trapped under collapsed buildings. The magnitude 7.4 quake struck at 7:34 at a depth of 103 kilometers. In Choco province, the country's geological service said. It was felt across an enormous area stretching for hundreds of miles across western Colombia. Many of the deaths have been concentrated in the city of Pereira in Colombia's coffee growing region, with surrounding cities and the Valle de Cauca region also hit hard. Let's see. The epicenter of the quake was near the village of San Jose del Palmar in Choco province, but local mayor Leon Fabio Marin Moncada said that there had miraculously been no deaths or injuries, despite the roads in and out being damaged. There are more details, obviously, in the rest of this article, but I just wanted to at least touch on the fact that there was a major earthquake in Colombia. Obviously, condolences, thoughts, prayers to everyone involved in that, people who lost their lives. From the situation, really sucks whenever you cover any kind of natural disaster. And I know that in these kind of moments, you're not just picking the pieces, but you're worrying about aftershocks. It is a very active, scary situation, I'm sure. So yeah, wanted to start with that. But we're going to move on to our next story coming out of the Associated Press. Ukrainian drone attack on an oil hub deep inside Russia kills 13, officials say. Ukraine attacked the petroleum hub of Nizhnekamsk in central Russia's Tartan. I'm fucking up all these names today. Region on Monday, killing 13 people and injuring 78 others, local authorities said, in one of the deadliest attacks in the country in the 4-year war. The Ukrainian military said it hit an oil refinery in Nizhnekamsk, which is about 1,200 kilometers east of the Ukrainian border and has a population of 240,000. Russian officials didn't say what the drones targeted, but the city is home to 2 refineries and a petrochemical plant. Ukraine has targeted Russian oil facilities with long-range drones almost daily in recent months. The campaign has caused fuel shortages in Russia, eaten into its refining capacity, and unsettled the population. So yeah, another big happening I just kind of wanted to highlight there. Feels like we have kind of been covering a bit more highlights, from this war, from this conflict. I feel like the drone warfare aspect in some ways is kind of making it easier, which is kind of grim to think about, to conduct this war. So now it's like, hey, we can kill and we can move further into the areas without, giving up troop locations or movements or, giving up actual ground. And this is kind of from both sides. But then it allows you to do things like hit civilians and shit. So it's very sad, when you kind of get more and more reports like this. And it's like, well, yeah, it's bringing the war home to Russia, but it's like, oh, okay, we're really just doing more killing one way or another here. And it doesn't seem to be ending any of it, which I think is an important thing. We're not getting anywhere closer to peace with this. It just seems to be kind of elongating it, even more so. But anyway, we actually have one more thing to cover. This is actually a pretty short and sweet episode. I say short and sweet, but really all the stories are pretty fucked up and depressing. But so it goes. That's just a day at the newsstand. What can you do? But yeah, let's go ahead and take our last break, and we will close it out there. Oh, man. All right. We're really marching through today. From the Associated Press. Trump signs order calling for spacing out of childhood vaccines against medical groups' guidance. President Donald Trump on Monday signed an executive order calling for revamped childhood vaccine recommendations that promote his long-held but discredited theory that childhood shots should be spaced out into several medical visits. The order advocates separating the measles, mumps, and rubella MMR vaccine into 3 different single disease shots and administering all childhood immunizations at separate appointments whenever possible. It also directs the nation's health department to improve research on vaccines, which are already extensively studied, and present a plan to offer separate measles, mumps, and rubella vaccines for children, since that is not currently an option in the United States. This is not necessary at fucking all. It's potentially bad. Like you're adding a chance for a child to get this by splitting it up, like getting any one of these diseases, or you're giving a potential kind of wink nod out, I feel like, to parents who don't want to maybe get certain ones, who want to pick and choose here. And so it's like, okay, well, good. We don't have to at least get that. Like, this doesn't accomplish anything positive, but I feel like the Trump administration has been in a bind about this because they've been pushing this narrative. RFK Jr. has been pushing this narrative really hard, up until the point of getting into the White House. And now they kind of can't really enact that without people screaming bloody murder, as they fucking should. You should not be uprooting, actual concrete science that we know is actually effective and good for children, good for, just the general population. But no, they're going to come up to the line as much as they can. And this is their attempt to make it happen, to kind of, I guess, maybe split the baby, if you will, compromise, whatever. But I think it does more harm than any kind of potential good. Obviously, I'm not a medical expert, much like RFK Jr. and Donald Trump. But hey, it feels bad. This looks bad to me. And granted, I don't have children, but it is one of those things that when you hear a story like this, I'm not saying, it makes me feel thankful that I don't have any, but definitely it's like, dude, like, could you imagine? Like, it makes you wonder, because now thinking about it, right? Like, if you have a kid of this age, they don't have their vaccine yet, there was a convenient way that it's like, hey, you can just get this shot. You can just get this, boom. It's got it all. Now, or if it's either that or they are giving you 3 different shots, I'm pretty sure it is a one shot that has them all. Now you have to make multiple appointments, take out multiple times out of your day to, out of your, year or whatever to make this fucking shit happen. It's stupid. It's fucking silly. Now, granted, this is an executive order. I'm pretty sure, I'm kind of just doing this Isaiah's way or whatever. That it comes down to the states and how it's supposed to be implemented. So there might be a chance here that it goes to each individual state, and hopefully most states just kind of stick to the script. I don't know though. Don't quote me on that. I might be getting that fucking wrong. But that being said, I'm sure there's definitely going to be, some states that are going to like, okay, yeah, no, we're definitely going to abide by this. We're going to align ourselves with the federal government here, and we're going to space out these shots. Which, like I said, once again, to me seems very foolish. It seems to go against what standard science is, and all because these people, in my opinion, are just scared of a fucking needle. Like, I don't know, man. People have these conspiracies. They have their own thoughts on medicine or whatever. But I think it's crazy to say, hey, this is a problem. To say, hey, like what we have as is, with the vaccine, rollout, like this is a problem. We need to change this. I want my child to potentially get the measles or mumps or fucking rubella. What the fuck, man? It's wild to me. But anyway, to each their own. That's really it. That's all I have for today. Like I said, a short episode, but smaller. But yeah, if you'd like to help out, support the effort, if you would like to be like the wonderful Miss Puccini, the great Puccini, become a newsie today. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. There you go. Let's see, you get the roll call. I do the full roll call at the top of the month. Plug projects, things you like, things you might be doing. It's like you turn me into like a cameo. Only I'm just like a nobody. But like hey, plug a project, things. Events coming up. You can use me as a soundboard, right? That's nice. That's the power of the newsies. Also there's old little episodes and stuff like that you get access to, from the Patreon. So you can hear you can call it bonus content. There's some old notes I need to update. I know I'm lacking. But yeah, it's a little tip jar, pretty much. But yeah, you get a little extra stuff too. Let's see. Free ways to hit me up at xanders1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow on TikTok. Follow on Spotify. Follow on Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to listen. Let's see. Leave a like. Leave a cool comment. Sharing is always caring. All the stars are appreciated on Spotify or Apple Podcast. But you don't have to do any of that. I really just appreciate knowing that there are people out there that, are interested in what's going on in my life, interested in what's going on in the world around us, and, want to listen about it and want to potentially talk about it, whatever. I don't know. That shit's pretty cool to me. So yeah, thanks for that. Thank you, my dear listeners. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.